On the big red bench, we are delighted to be joined by the manager of the newly crowned All Ireland Junior Hurling champions, as well as Munster and Cork County champions, Kilbrittain, and that's Joe Ryan. Joe, you've been very good to us this year on the big red bench, and it is lovely to have you back on as an All Ireland winning manager. How does that sound, first of all, when it's said to you?
Yeah, it sounds it's amazing really. It's surreal. It is kind of sinking in slowly in the quieter moments in the last few days when things are starting to settle. It's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate you. You and the players have been all over the media, social media. You've done 100 million interviews. I'm going to try and endeavour not to ask you the same types of questions. So here's an easy one to start off with. The Cork's RedFM's County Hurling Leagues begin on Saturday, March the 7th, with Kilbrittain hosting Middleton in Division 5 fixture. I know maybe you don't want to hear that or you do hear that, but it's coming and it's on the horizon. So I want to ask you how preparations are going because I know some of the players are still celebrating, but the thinking and planning, because you're champions now, it's in the history books, you've celebrated it. Kilbrittain have to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be forced to move on. Our eyes will be opened pretty quickly. I think there was a joke in training the last few weeks that some of the older lads that may or may not be considering stepping away, that they've already started 2026 preseason, so they may as well stay on. And look, we Middleton, we look, it's a challenge, all right. Yeah, I might be asking a few. I might be asking a few people for their advice on how to approach it, but yeah, it does. It naturally I have started thinking about it, to be honest with you, because you have to be organized and plan these things out. But there'll be a few extra things in the way, like the dinner dance is being organized at the moment as well. So we'll enjoy it while we can.
Yes, lots of things to look forward to between here and then. I suppose I said it in jest, but even the manager in you is already having to think about these things because like there is a long year ahead of you. Um, when I say the All Ireland final to you and everything that you've been through, the emotional roller coaster, both on the sideline and off the pitch, and the way the community came together, what's the kind of first memory that comes to your head now when I say you're an All Ireland champion and that victory over Eastleigh?
The Probably the final whistle, because the play was down on our side. It was right in front of the Eastleigh dugout there, and you're just like looking back on it on the video. There's an Eastleigh man free in the middle of the pitch, and I remember shouting my head off, like screaming. And of course, it was useless because you can't hear anything down on the sideline, and just seeing Josh get the ball then, and the ref blowing the whistle. That like I was kind of telling myself continuously in the build up to it that to like just to enjoy it as it goes, and we did it in different stages. So the itinerary was from Kilbrittain to Croke Park, and then there was a second itinerary for Croke Park itself, and we were kind of ticking the boxes we were going through it. So I was actually, I felt fairly relaxed. I think the players are fairly relaxed, but we were trying to enjoy it as much as we can up until throwing, and then obviously chaos ensued, and it was a different feelings then.
Yeah, I know in other interviews you've said as well in Southern Star as well today. So I like that this wasn't the best. I label it as not one of the best performances of the championship. But look, you've talked about that. For me, like Ronan Crowley, 21-year-old man of the match, and then Tomas Harrington coming off the bench and the impact he had. Does that best encapsulate what Kilbrittain are all about between young and not so young? That people at the right points of this season, this hugely long season, 12, 13 months, have stood up when you needed them.
Yeah, I think it's probably a really good example of the bond that's within the group, like Ronan being 21 and then Tom on the other end of the spectrum. And how, I saw on an article there today that Ronan had commented that Tom, before every game, comes up to him and tells him that it's going to be his day. And the joke is that half the time Ronan felt that it wasn't, but Tom still had that trust in him. And I think the trust was a big thing that was earned this year by the group and by players and even by management as well. That when you get winning, it's kind of something that just builds. Um, and we knew, like we had started the same team for the majority of championships, so there was that people were settled, they were very, very comfortable with each other. And then we had our like Tom, Dec Harrington, Conor Snowski, Nick O'Donovan, Owen Byrne, Charlie Kenny. They like we used 21 players throughout championship. And even beyond that, everyone had a role to play. The bond that's there is like, if you could bottle it, it's just it's magic, look, it's very little to do on the management side of things. I was genuine in what I said that, or when I said that I was trying to stay out of their way for the last 2 weeks. I was afraid that if something I'd say would plant a seed in someone's head or jinx it, So, and I'm not superstitious at all, but they were just in such good form, and it took on a life of its own.
It certainly did, and the Kilbrittain community helped with that taking on a life of its own. I've seen clubs go on runs and winning county championships, win Munster, but getting to an All Ireland final. What I wanted to ask you now is, now that the dust has settled, the celebration in Dublin on the night of becoming All Ireland champions was very special. But the homecoming to Kilbrittain, such a small, united community, Joe, the fireworks, just everybody and everybody, people home from all over the world. I have two cousins, Betty and Pauline from America, that came home for it. Like, I mean, just it's hard to quantify that, but it is important that you get to experience it and remember it, because these are the days you remember for the rest of your lives.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. And we wanted, I suppose, as a group to embrace everything beforehand, because the memories that we'd create up until the throw-in, like that, they weren't going to change. They were set really. No, okay, they're coloured by the result, obviously, but we wanted them to enjoy and not hide away from it. No, I don't know if that was the right or wrong thing to do, but the Saturday night was brilliant because we got a bit of time to ourselves after the game. We stuck together as a team. We had a meal, and then we got the bus back out to the hotel, and we were met there. And it was like what you see on telly, it was like what you see on the Sunday game, in the banquets and stuff like that. And it was really nice as well. Dennis Hurley was emceeing it, and look, Dennis is my brother-in-law. His brother James was full back in the team, so it was kept very local. And then the Sunday we got back. And there was a decision made. Normally, I think the tradition in Kilbrittain is they go on the truck, and there was a decision made because of the weather that we go to the hall, and it was class. Like the walk into the hall was like I'm kind of getting emotional now thinking of it, because the hall was packed, and there was even people outside like waiting basically in the rain, and waiting for us to come out again, and like. The really nice thing was after that, the we all got to go then up to the grave, and it just flowed. Like we went up to the grave and met with Catherine and Christophe, and then all went back down to the village again. So I think those moments, they're probably they're the real memories. Really, like the game goes by in a flash, and you think in real time. Like as I said, I think I very unfairly labeled it one of our worst performances. Having watched it back, I think we played, like we kept playing. It was a really high intensity, high quality game. Some things we did really poorly, and some things we did really well, but it just passes in a flash. So it's the memories afterwards, really, and before, and the build up that will remain.
And I think that's the perfect way to end this interview, because it has all been about memories. Yeah, I'd say it. Like, Joe, you've been fantastic to us here in the Big Red Bench, speaking to us anytime we've looked for information from the club. You were very, very accommodating. Your captain, Philip Wall, as well, fantastic all the way through. And for all the other radio stations and TV stations, and things you've had to do over the last couple of days, and how intense it's been. But from everybody here in the Big Red Bench, not just myself, but all the other presenters and the producers behind the scenes, a sincere thanks, and thanks for the memories, because what a run, and all those memories that you've generated, whatever about the trophies, County, Munster, and what All Ireland, and what's to come. I think what you did for the Kilbrittain community, I think that trumps all those three trophies personally. And to have been at the centre of it and been one of the people responsible for it, I know you want to take all the praise. We're very, very happy that we were just a small little bit of that journey, and got to talk to you about it, and got to experience it as well. And we're going to talk to some of the players over the coming weeks. We're not going to let it go before the county league start up again, as I brought up earlier. But from everybody on the bench, Joe Ryan, thanks very, very much, and we look forward to talking to you again later on in the year.
Thanks a million, Jerry. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks.